only way you're gonna make it in this world is by working like a peasant, thinking like a king. You might be like, what the fuck you talking about? You huffing again? No. I mean, I am huffing again, but I don't have anything to do with this. What I mean is that you need to work 84 hours a week at least if you want to make it in this world. As a comedian, musician, a teacher, a preacher, a hygiene technician, whatever they call it these days, you need to stay focused. This needs to be your life. So whatever you're doing out there right now, put it in the comments. What you're doing, what you're trying to pursue. Are you trying to be a restaurateur? Are you trying to be a sports agent? Are you trying to be a loan shark? Say what it is down below and say, hey, I'm gonna work this many hours out of a week, and it better not be below 84. If it's 83 and a half, I'm gonna beat your ass. But now I take this episode is gonna be more like a seminar on how to get money. Now, this is how I made my little wealth in the world. It don't have to be anything big. You don't have to be a millionaire to be a king in this world. But you do have to work like a peasant, if you see what I'm thinking. So let's talk about how a king thinks. A king thinks, what's the least I could do to get the most return? We all agree on this. And how do I make the juice worth the squeeze? You know what I'm saying? What does a peasant think like? He says, I better do as much work as I can. I better be the most efficient worker I could be to get the most out of this land. So how do we combine the two? You want to put a minimum amount of effort on one side, but you got to put an efficient effort on the other side. And a lot of my gamers out there, have you ever heard the term min-maxing? Min-maxing essentially is working 84 hours a week at least at one thing and never doing anything else. Hygiene, don't worry about that. Unless you're a hygiene technician, don't worry about it. Unless you're a dentist or something, don't worry about it. Raising your kids, managing your relationship, don't worry about that. Putting on a condom, that's wasted jewels. That's wasted energy that could be going towards your career. This is the frame of reference, the frame of mind, the space of function, the way I'm thinking. This is the tapestry of tessellation that I'm trying to teach you about, is what you're not understanding. So I think the next part in this, we want to use a real world example of how working like a peasant and thinking like a king could lead to real success, and not working like a peasant and thinking like a king can lead you to bitch acidness, or working like a peasant and not thinking like a king can lead you to further bitch acidness. So let's do the last one first. There's a lot of people, America runs on people who work like a peasant and not at all thinking like a king. They might be thinking like a baron, maybe a Christian monk, maybe like a paladin sort of thing, but they ain't thinking like a king. They ain't thinking like a king. That's the point I was saying. Maybe I misspoke there. I don't remember. But they're working like a peasant. So that means they're doing their main job, which might be whatever. Might working at the grocery store, might working at the gas station, might working at Walgreens. Fine jobs, socially valuable jobs. But since they don't demand more from their employees, they like, hey, I'm not a king at heart. I'm just a bitch ass baron. So it's okay for me to get paid $12 an hour, not even that, no overtime. It's okay for me to work Black Friday and get trampled to death to make $7 an hour. You know, that's peasant shit. Because they do their job, but they ain't being kingly about it. And how do you be kingly? You see, you working at Walmart. Some of y'all working at Walmart these days. You go up to the Walton family. You get a private meeting with them. Say it's really important. Say, if you listen to my idea, this might be $1 billion idea, and you want to get it first, or do you want Shark Tank to get it first? Because Damon is gonna love this. Damon gonna love this shit. So you better listen right quick. You go in there, say all that shit. and then you don't have the plan. I mean, you can have a plan if you want. Now I think about it, you probably should have a plan, because if they fund it, you get a cut. You could be a billionaire too if it's a billionaire idea. But no, you want to go in there, tell them all that bullshit to get in the room with one of the Waltons, and you get yourself a scepter of some sort. You maybe have a local pimp in the neighborhood let you borrow it for some. Maybe you give him $15. He lets you borrow it. You go up to the Walton family estate where you're taking the meeting, and you're like, can y'all pay me a little bit more? If not, I'm gonna have to beat y'all ass with this scepter. And you don't have to say it like that, but it's something. It's that energy. That's what a king would do. That's what That's what Charlemagne would do. Not the god, the king. Because you can't be thinking like a god now. You go too far if you're thinking like a god. You gotta think like a king. That's the perfect level. That's the balance. If you think, I'm telling you, if I see y'all in the streets thinking like barons, I will fucking smack you back and forth. I will double slap you. I will teabag you. I will dump your ass in the river if I see you thinking anything other than the king. So, this is how serious I take this shit. And this is how serious y'all not taking this shit. I see you right now. I imagine y'all in here listening to this thinking, man, this guy's crazy. He talking that bullshit. No, I'm talking that good shit. The only shit you need to hear. Because y'all love watching these motivational videos talking about how stuff is being right now. But it's all confirming your biases. How you gonna get, you looking for advice. You looking for advice and everyone just telling you, just all you gotta do is buckle down. That's white people shit, honestly. That's Hispanic people shit. That's European people shit. That's Indian people shit. Over here in the Chinese black community, we thinking like kings. We thinking like kings and chings. So let me get back. So y'all if y'all can handle this shit, go back to y'all little motivational Monday videos or whatever the fuck, or Gary V, whatever bullshit y'all watching, or like all the motivational clip channels that repost clips of Denzel Washington saying, I've never experienced a hint of racism in my life. Y'all listen to that shit. Listen to clips of Margaret Thatcher saying how, the bitches gotta handle their own business. But if you a real ass N-word, I know some of y'all don't like hearing the N-word, so I'm not gonna say it. You stick around here. We thinking like kings of whatever. Kings of comedy, kings of music, kings of teaching, kings of preaching, kings of hygiene, technique. So next part of this thing. People who don't work like a peasant. They work like they already did something in their life. And they think like kings, though. They think that they have some sort of power in the situation. This is a common archetype amongst children. You see this a lot with these annoying ass, bratty ass, nasty ass children. The type of black girl children who already ruined their hair with flat ironing. The type of girl who steals from their friend's house at a sleepover. That's the type of people that we're thinking of. They're conniving like a king, but they're not working for anything. They're not putting their 84 hours in third grade. They're not putting their 84 hours in beautician school when they're in middle school. They're not putting their 84 hours in when it comes to whatever they care about, doing their Barbie dolls, putting blackface on their Barbie dolls, trying to get the squirrel and the cat in the neighborhood to like each other. They're not putting their 84 hours in. And you might say, when does the 84-hour paradigm start? It starts when you drop out of your mama vagina. It starts then. From day one, when you plop it on the floor, when you flopping like a fish on the floor, that's when the 84-hour a week need to start. Maybe if you get sick, we can bump it down to 82 or something. But really, when you get sick, anything below bone cancer, you could just pound a bunch of water and take ibuprofen, you fine. Like, being sick ain't that big a deal. When what's another example of not working like a peasant but thinking like a king? And when you get older, it manifests itself in a different way, I'd say. In that you have people working at a nice job, like they went to college or something, or maybe they lucked into just a cushy little office job. It don't pay too much money, but it's more than enough for their lifestyle, for what they think their lifestyle should be, which is working 35 hours a week, watching streaming stuff when they go home, and then having a boyfriend that you visit on the weekends that does not I mean, he's having sex with you, but it's not loving at all. You're just sort of a flesh tissue that he jacks off with, so to speak. That's the sort of thing y'all women and gay guys need to do better. See, some people would say that I'm homophobic and that I'm misogynistic, but my hatred of women comes from a place of love, is what y'all don't understand. And my hate crimes come from a place of teaching. Because even though I'm like, I don't need to disclose my age, but even though I'm at my youthful age of youngness, y'all need to know that I'm smarter than y'all on some level. Like, think about the smartest woman in your life. Okay, she's different, she's smart, but then think of like the third smartest woman in your life. That's a dumb bitch. So y'all need some teaching. It's not like y'all all perfect or whatever. And think about the stankiest woman in your life. So you combine the stanky ones with the third from the top dumbest ones and below. It's like y'all women need to be taught in some form or fashion. No one said anything about putting hands on anyone, but if that happens, all's fair in love and teaching your ass. That's that old saying. So let's move on to the other one. People who do not neither work like a king nor think like a king. I mean, sorry, I'm fucking my own shit up. I'm sorry. I saw a commercial right here for the what is it, Honda RAV4, whatever that fucking thing is. I was mesmerized, and now I got a commercial up here for Wrangler jeans and showing these white women with their flat asses. And you know what? It's really a shame how all this diversity stuff is happening in society. We got to make Hollywood more diverse. We need black pedophiles and all this. But these random commercials showing off all these women, these white women. When I mean white, I mean people I don't like. So they have all these white women up here with no ass. We need to diversify the fucking beauty standards around here. I want some big ass. Like, I don't know how you measure ass. Like, is it double D? Can I get a double D ass on TV? Oh, that's too sexual. All ass is sexual. Even a kid's ass. But we're not going to go there. That's a different discussion for another day. I think next week, maybe, or the week after that, I'll be teaching you the teachings of African Bambaataa. But y'all not ready for that right now. Y'all sure as shit. If y'all failing this class, y'all sure as shit not ready for that one. But whatchamadinkey. So people who don't work like a peasant and don't think like a king, where do they end up in life? That's a good question. So they usually have a nice pampered living. Pampered existence is one of the manifestations of this. It's people who just had everything in life. So for example, there could be a kid who is like the third generation of wealth. Their grandfather maybe had like a shoestring store in Philly that made a bunch of money back in the day. His kids, weren't spoiled or anything because they grew up as he was building up the business. But by the time they got to college age, he was able to afford them to go to college. To go some shitty college, to go to whatever college in West Pennsylvania. West Penn Fentanyl University. That's where they went. So they got the raise yourself up by your shoestrings mentality as a kid, but as an adult, they had things popping, had opportunities, and then their kids they just have the money now. They're not working like they can't. How can you convince yourself to work like a peasant if you're not, if you already being, if you got a king's money? And how you gonna think like a king if you have a peasant's dream? Like you're living a peasant's dream. Like if you wake up and you a kid and you 9 years old, your refrigerator is filled to the brim with mutton, and you got every video game you want, and you have bad bitches on call from here to the elementary school 2 towns over. What's the motivation in your life? What is there to do? You peaked already. By the time you came out of your mama, what's the point? He's 84 hours. What's the driving goal? Why? So some legacy? So you can people can think you're great. It's not about that. Public perception never factors into anything. Should never factor into anything you do. You want to tell you why? What does a king think? What does a king think about his peasants? He thinks they are pig fucking, incest committing dumbasses, and for the most part, they were. And for the most part, America is to varying extents. And I got some secret documents actually, which y'all bitch ass whoever's don't have access to. But I got a library card and I looked up this statistic, and it said that most of the incest cases, like of incest of doings, they're actually happening in upstate New York, Ohio, Oregon is just a product of incest, but they just don't acknowledge it. Most of these incest cases are not actually happening down in the South, where the real Americans live, like myself. But I like to think of myself as a coast to coast type of guy, even though I've never been out of state Louisiana. The farthest I've been to the east is Gulfport. The farthest to the west is Beaumont. Farthest to the north was Shreveport. But I'd like to think of myself as a worldly type of brother who once he get his money right will be jet setting from Atlanta to Phoenix, doing his thing, and being worldly about it. So let me tell you another thing. People who don't work. So like there's a lot of people I went to high school with who did not work hard, who are not thinking like kings. And where they at now? Dead, pregnant, still doing open mics after 5 years, Discord pedophiles, you shouldn't be laughing at these sorts of things, but it's odd to like see someone progressing to that other type. These are the type of people who don't work or think in the right direction. They become the people that we all mock, but secretly we all envy, because they're able to live a life without doing none of the thinking, none of the working. It's just pure impulse. It's just pure whatever. But do you want to live an impulsive life? Someone's texting me, so I got to read this text. It's a business thing. Oh yeah, that's my girl Laurel. My girl Laurel is talking to me. She's saying hot stuff to me. She's trying to sext. I don't get why bitches always trying to sext, because who's trying to beat off to words? What do I look like, a bibliophile? That ain't me. I'm gonna send you one picture of the underside of my penis and we done. You better, finger yourself to completion off that, because I ain't got much else. Face all fucked up. One half of my face drooping because I took intravenous shots of purple drink. But whatever. So now that you get what sort of things that I'm talking about here, let's use an example of success now. I showed you all the different types of failures and how that basically creates a bunch of different American archetypes. But I would like to talk about what happens when you work like a peasant, think like a king, and you're really pursuing this one thing in your life. So let's choose a thing. Personally, personally, I think a underrated profession is being, let's see here. I was gonna say stevedore, but we're not gonna handle that right. We're not gonna talk about it. You're not ready for that, honestly. So we could talk about every dock worker who gets crushed. They weren't thinking like a king, and I'll say it's on them. They're the victims. I mean, no, they're not the victims. It's their fault. My bad. I'm trying to think here because there's so many examples flowing through my mind. It's almost as if I'm too smart, too sexy, too black for that ass. But honestly, I would like to give y'all a tip right now before I go, because I think I should be wrapping this up. Is that if you want to get in the mindset where you can see everything that I'm seeing, you gotta find your own get loose juice. And if you don't know what get loose juice is, you need to Google it. You need to fucking learn. You need to get educated. And because it's not obvious what it is, but just the name get loose juice. But you need to find your own get loose juice, your own cocktail, your own slurry of stuff to put in your body to get you in that higher level. It might be dipping cigarettes in embalming fluid. It might be injecting Yoo-hoo. It might be taking suppositories of dick pills and seeing what happens. It could be whatever. It could be putting Splenda like on an elk heart, putting it in a blender and drinking whatever comes out of it, you know. My get loose juice is chocolate milk, 2 spoons of raw coffee grounds from Venezuela, a couple of Splendas to taste, and a pinch of Great Value sports drink. Add cocaine as needed. And this is what's really getting me in the mindset to spit knowledge with a capital N and do work with a capital W. So when y'all come out here and say, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life, I don't know how to handle my women, I don't know how to handle my man, my mom is an overbearing whatever, and my dad is like, he won't stop molesting me. Y'all need to quiet down. You need to get that get loose juice. Find that level you need to get to where none of that matters. So if your goal in life is to do, well, I'm not gonna say that, but let's say get back at the people who wronged you, you're gonna have to get that get loose juice. Put your 84 hours a week on that manifesto and get to fucking work. So I think we might do another one of these seminars a little bit later, because honestly, I think the Google Corporation and Cox Cable, they really hating on a brother, and I think they might have erased my document and all my information and cut off the internet. But that ain't done nothing to a G. Most of this is just from remembrance. So hopefully that information found you well. And I would like to talk about something else. We go into a whole different thing. This isn't motivational, but this is just some my nephew, he been starting stand up, and I want to see if y'all like it. So my little nephew, Dontrell Arias, he's been doing open mics, and I just want to see if this stuff is really good in y'all eyes, because you know me and my family, a couple of aunties came down from Shreveport to watch the open mics, and we all fake laugh to support them. But since we're such humorless proud black folk, we don't even know what jokes are anymore. So we laugh or whatever. He say something about talking about cotton picking. We all laughing because it's funny that slavery happened. Because if you put me back in slavery times, you know I'm not just running. I'm going in that mansion, fucking the white bitch, getting the whip, killing the overseer, killing the master. Done. 5 minutes, done. 2 pumps, bust inside the white woman, get the whip, right across that overseer's face, and then I see that master. I go, wow, I'm looking like some sort of black kung fu movie, cause I'm getting that ass. I'm whooping the balls. I'm whooping the ass. I'm whooping the like that part in his Adam's apple. So he's struggling to breathe, and now I'm whooping his eyes. I'm like, ugh. And then after that, he's blinded. He's having trouble in breathing, and then one more, I'm gonna flip him over, take his pants off, and then I'm gonna hit his boss in the back. I'm like, I'm gonna hit his prostate. We really embarrassing him now. And then while I'm doing this, all the other slaves are like, hey, stop. What are you doing? What are you doing? That's what's going on. We like what you're doing, but we don't like how you're doing it, And I'm like, y'all need to let me be me. Y'all need to let me be me. Because a couple of decades from now, BDSM will be invented, and y'all gonna look at me as a pioneer, as a true pioneer. And then after a little bit more whipping on his balls or something like that, I will kill him, and that's how I will take over the plantation. That wasn't one of my nephew's jokes or anything. I just thought of that right now because think about how awesome black people are at stuff now. They're good at sports. They're really good at math. They're really good at graduating college, for example. They're really good at provoking the police into making us look the victims, while we all secretly have the richest banking families, own 70% of the media. BET is the true center of everything. The person who owns BET owns CNN, owns True TV, owns the Adult Swim part of Cartoon Network. So this guy is like a big media mogul, and this is like the Black Mafia family, the Black Gorilla family. This is all rolled into one. It's all one big cabal. If you ever read the orders of the elders of, let's see here, Atlanta, the orders of the elders of Atlanta, the orders of the hot niggas of Atlanta. If you ever read that book, you would know this. But whatever. Am I low on time? I'm about to get the fuck my nephew. One thing I guess we're not gonna have time for it. I'm gonna skip a lot of stuff, but there's one thing I think we need to talk about. Israel. Why do Jews get everything? Getting our text here. I'm sorry about this. I'm a very busy man who gets money. So that's fine. Israel, why do Jews get why do Jews get everything? They try to make it seem like they haven't got anything, but from 6,000 years ago to now, it's just an undefeated long stretch of victories, getting money, marrying 13-year-old women, incest, all the things that they're like the impulse to the highest degree. They're full impulse. They doing everything they want, never question it. No morality. They don't care if usury is immoral. They don't care if human trafficking is an abomination. They don't care about doing, even though they just got Holocaust, they doing a 70-year long Holocaust. They don't think like that. Everything's immediate. They're like a rat race. Yeah, they're a rat race, and sometimes they try to get us caught in it. And that's why they call it the rat race. It was an old thing back in the day. This is established way long ago, like in 1600s Europe. And it was like they called them the rat race for thousands of years. And then at some point, when people got trapped in their debt traps and their loan sharking and their Jewishness, they said we all in the rat race. That's where that phrase comes from, because Jews are the rat race, and they control everything. Overall, in America, black people control. BET controls everything, but in terms of international players, it's Jews. So, I think next week we're going to elucidate, illuminate, and promulgate and prostrate the Jewish race when it comes to them having the power, them using the power, and them once again having the power. So it's like a cycle. You have power, you use power, you have power, you use power, you have power, you use power, until you forget to pay the bills and someone cuts off your power. That's basically what the world runs off. So next week we will be talking about that. I want y'all to be really thinking about this stuff, because I'm spitting real spill knowledge, and y'all always act like y'all better than it, but y'all really not. But you either good enough to listen to this, or you're Jewish.